Yo guys, hope everyone's doing well. It's Tom here from Wolfsups, and today we're coming at you with a bit of a different video. Obviously you've seen the gym reviews and you've seen all the fun stuff we do, and as enjoyable as that is, we are a supplement brand and we do make supplements, and I myself absolutely love the science behind the supplements, and I'd love to get into it as well, and I love to speak to people about supplements. So one thing I'm going to make an effort to do more of is coming on the YouTube maybe once a month and making some more informative content on certain ingredients, certain supplements that we sell. Even if we don't sell them, I just want to deep dive in, basically give you a full rundown so you can decide whether it's something you'd be willing to take or you think's worth taking. So yeah, we'll crack on with this first video on the supplement section. So first of all, today I want to get into signs of overtraining, creatine and sleep. All three things that I've just mentioned are very important to your training. Sleep and overtraining being bigger than creatine. Obviously creatine's an add-on that you can take. But these three things are something that I talked about in an ebook that I wrote a few years ago. And yeah, I believe all three play the part in getting you to where you want to be. I feel like sleep is obviously the most important one. Then overtraining. A lot of young lads and older people don't actually realise that they're overtraining. You might be slogging away in the gym 4 or 5 times a week, in there an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you don't really realise that you're overtraining, but you are. Your progress might stall. It's something that isn't talked about enough, so I'm going to break down some signs that you might be overtraining, and then I'm going to talk about how creatine could help you in the gym. Right guys, so first up is sleep. Sleep is so important for brain function, bodily function, and pretty much everything that goes into health. So without sleep, you'll notice inflammation will go up in your body, which eventually could lead to disease. Without sleep, you'll feel sluggish all day. You just won't feel ready to go. In the gym, you'll feel like crap. So it is a very, very important factor when training. So getting enough sleep is essential. So research has shown time and time again that 7 hours plus is the sweet spot for sleep. As soon as you drop below that 7 hours, you'll notice your cognitive function declining, you'll notice your performance in the gym declining, and you'll just be in an overall worse mood throughout the day. So without sleep, you aren't going to get any gains in the gym. You're not going to get stronger, and you're not going to get bigger, and you're probably going to lose muscle. So sleep is essential. Whilst you're sleeping, your body is regulating hormones such as growth hormone. It's stimulating tissue repair, muscle protein synthesis. And yeah, without it, you're not really going to get anywhere. So one study that I talked about in my ebook that went into sleep and muscle loss basically showed that the group that slept the less lost way more muscle than the group that slept the most, both being in the same calorie deficit. So one group slept 8.5 hours per night and the other group slept 5.5 hours per night. This was run for 2 weeks. The results were pretty astonishing, to say the least. Both groups lost the same amount of weight, but the group sleeping for 5.5 hours per night lost 60% more muscle than the group that slept 8.5 hours per night. So obviously, if you are prepping for a show, or if you're just wanting to get lean for summer and you're not wanting to lose all your muscle, sleep is so important. Yeah, so obviously if you're dieting, you need to get your 8.5 hours sleep, or like I said before, at least 7 hours. This study went quite extreme with 5.5 hours per night. But I do speak to people in the gym and people who come in the shop who do actually sleep around 5 to 6 hours a night. And it's no wonder really why these people are always complaining that they can't recover, or they're complaining that they can't make any gains or strength gains. So yeah, make sure you're getting that sleep. So just one night of sleep deprivation shows some pretty interesting results in one 2018 study performed on 15 young men. The study showed that after just one night of little sleep, there were significant levels of increased protein breakdown in muscles. So again, that backs up the point of the other study. All these studies, by the way, will be referenced in the description if you do want to check them out yourself. To make matters worse, their fat tissue had elevated levels of protein and metabolites, which are involved in promoting fat storage. So not only are you not recovering, not building muscle, and potentially losing muscle, with less sleep, you are also encouraging your body to store more fat. It does kind of make sense from a evolutionary standpoint. Obviously, in times of high stress, famine, you might be sleeping less, so your body's encouraged then to hold on to more fat tissue. So as I mentioned briefly before, sleep plays a vital role in regulating hormones within the body. A recent study showed that after 8 days of around 6 hours sleep, testosterone levels in men fell 10 to 15%. So if you're wanting to get any takeaways from that, obviously 1 week of sleep deprivation can cause your testosterone to drop 10 to 15%. That's quite a significant drop if you are natural. A 10 to 15% drop in testosterone will probably make you feel a lot worse. It'll hinder your recovery, hinder your gains. Obviously, sex drive will be right down. So it just shows what 1 week of sleep deprivation does to your body and how important sleep actually is. What I also find crazy is how lack of sleep is kind of pushed in the fitness industry, or it used to be anyway. So people would be like, yep, you can sleep when you're dead. Wake up, get after it, whatever. Wake up early. You don't need that extra sleep. And it's no surprise, really, that the testosterone replacement therapy industry is growing massively. It's a market now worth around 1.4 billion. It just shows how many young men are relying on testosterone replacement. And obviously, going into old age, you want to regulate your hormones and keep them in as best shape as possible. So, yeah, sleeping well definitely isn't something only lazy people do. It will actually make you more productive when you have had a full night's sleep, so you can get more work done the next day. Just going back to that point as well, the point that I mentioned, that people did kind of push the sleep less or sleep when you're dead mentality. A quote from Arnold that's quite famous. He said, "Sleep faster instead of sleeping for 8 hours." Maybe if Arnold knew how important sleep were, he'd have been even bigger and in better shape than he was. So another study looked at strength and performance in judo athletes after just 2 nights of sleep deprivation. Again, the study showed a huge decrease in muscle strength and power after just 2 days of sleep deprivation. So again, that study is linked below. But at this point, you should be able to see how important sleep really is. So here's some quick tips to improve sleep. So the first tip is turn screens off 30 minutes before bed. I know how hard this is for people. It's hard for myself to try and switch screens off and not be staring at a screen before bed. Obviously, we all work from us phones now. We've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got people messaging us, we've got group chats going off. It is hard to kind of put the phone down and switch off from the screen for even just 30 minutes. It sounds ridiculous, but we are all attached to his phones. So yeah, try and switch screens off for 30 minutes before bed. It'll cause your body to start increasing hormones that make you sleepy. So when you do finally go to sleep, you can get in a deeper sleep and get a better sleep. If you're not keen on the idea of switching your phone off 30 minutes before bed, you can actually get some glasses that are like blue light glasses to block blue light. If you are looking at your screen, so this might be worth a shout. Another thing I like to do is sleep with my phone away from me, so either in another room or just maybe at the end of the bed where you'd actually have to physically get up and get your phone if you wanted it. This will stop you kind of laying in bed, grabbing your phone off the side or whatever. If it buzzes, being tempted to grab it, or even just if you hear it buzz, it might just keep you awake. You're thinking, who's that? Who wants me? What's that? Whatever. So yeah, put your phone away from you so you can't reach it. Another thing is earplugs. So if you live on a main road or next to a main road, or just in general, like if you live in a noisy apartment block, earplugs might be a good idea. So they'll block out any noise. It'll stop you waking up in the middle of your sleep. Another thing, going back to the light, if you have a bedroom that isn't fully like light protected with blackout blinds, etc., it might be an idea to get an eye mask. Obviously, the less light coming in, the better. It means more melatonin. You'll be getting in a deeper sleep, a better sleep. And another big thing is avoiding caffeine before bed. Obviously, we sell pre-workout, and I know lads that take pre-workout at like 6 p.m, take pre-workout at 8 p.m, even 8:30, 9 p.m. A good rule of thumb would be 6 hours before bed, max. So if you're going to bed at 10 p.m, have your last bit of caffeine at 4 p.m. I'm a sucker for ignoring this rule, so if you do ignore it, pay attention to how you're sleeping. If you don't feel like you're sleeping well, definitely cut that caffeine out. So now on to the second point I wanted to talk about, which is overtraining. Obviously, overtraining and sleep kind of go hand in hand. Without proper sleep, you'll probably hit that overtraining window quicker. With proper sleep, you might never get to the point of overtraining, but here's some signs that you want to look out for if you think you might be overtrained. Overtraining causes hormonal imbalances just because your body's so fatigued. You're not down-regulating hormones properly. So you might be getting a lot of mood swings. If you find you're getting mood swings and you're snapping at co-workers, you're snapping at girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, then you might be overtrained. Maybe take a week off and see if you feel any better. So this is the biggest one and probably the easiest to notice, and that is a reduced sex drive. So when you're overtrained, your body is fatigued. If you look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, your body's not going to want to produce offspring when you can't even look after yourself, when you're feeling run down yourself. How are you going to take care of offspring? So your body then reduces sex drive, obviously. You won't feel like you want to have sex. You won't be producing the hormones that make you want to have sex. So that is definitely a big one to look out for. So there was a big study done on sex drive and overtraining, and it showed that athletes who were overtrained produce a lot less of the luteinizing hormone. This hormone is responsible for testosterone production. So in men, it caused less testosterone and an impaired ability to build muscle mass. In women, luteinizing hormone decreasing is associated with decreased levels of estrogen. Again, these are factors which would cause a decreased sex drive. So whether it be in men or in women, this is something you want to look out for. So this might be a term that you've heard in the fitness industry quite a few times, and that's RPE, rate of perceived exertion. So if you're performing weights that you'd normally do and they're feeling a lot heavier, like they're feeling harder than normal, you would say the rate of perceived exertion is higher. And if you're getting this a lot day in, day out with your training sessions, if you're doing weights that you did a few weeks back and they're feeling really heavy and just not feeling good, this could be a sign that you're overtraining or you need to just back off a little bit. Another one is sleeping problems. And this might seem a bit strange, really. Like, obviously you're overtrained, so you should be really fatigued. So why aren't you sleeping properly, or why aren't you sleeping enough? Well, this is just something that the body does from a evolutionary standpoint. Again, your body will keep you awake because you are stressed. Your body doesn't want to relax. Something is off. Either you need to be eating more, you need to be resting more. You see this a lot with athletes who lose a lot of body fat and get really lean for shows. Before the shows, they just can't sleep. The body is kind of on a hyper alert mode, survival mode, so be it. So yeah, if you're noticing that you're waking up a lot through the night, you could be overtrained. Another one is illness and injury. So again, if you're overtrained, you're not going to be recovering properly. You've got more risk of injury, inflammation's up in the body. And illness as well. Your immune system won't be firing properly, so you might notice that you're getting ill a lot. And if you train through these illnesses, you're only going to make your overtraining worse. Another thing that overtraining will do is cause your body to produce more stress hormones, so more cortisol. So an overtrained athlete will have an overactive pituitary gland. Another point we can make is that overtraining will cause metabolic imbalances. This one is much harder to spot, but a good sign would be that you're feeling constantly tired or constantly run down. So this is brought on usually by overtraining combined with inadequate nutrition and can lead to nutrient deficiencies such as iron deficiency, anemia. For women, this overtraining symptom is usually noticed through the menstrual cycle disruptions. So women, if you're noticing changes in your menstrual cycle and you don't know why, obviously you could look into the fact that it might be overtraining. It is just one of the many things that can cause disruptions to the menstrual cycle. So lastly, we're going to dive into creatine supplementation and why I believe everyone should be taking creatine. So creatine aids in the production of something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. You've probably heard of increasing your ATP before and why this is important, but today I'll just go deeper into why it is so important and what benefits it can give you as a strength or performance athlete. So ATP is your body's main source of energy when muscles are depleted. ATP production is halted. Supplementing with creatine gives the fuel needed to power ATP production. This causes you to be stronger and more powerful in the gym. Obviously, you'd hope that because you've got a higher power output, you're pushing more weight, your volume is going to be higher, so you'd hope that you would then get more muscle gain. If we take a look at tons of studies, we can see a correlation between volume and muscle gain. So obviously, the heavier weight you're pushing, the more powerful you can be, the more muscle you should be able to build. Creatine can be found in meat and fish in very small amounts. To get the proper benefits from creatine, you need to be taking around 3 to 5 grams a day. If you're a heavier individual, I'm talking like 150 kilo plus, you might even need more than that, like up to 10 grams a day. So are you going to get this from meat and fish? Absolutely not. Supplementation is key here. Due to how effective creatine is, we have tons of studies on creatine, and it's probably the most studied supplement today. I can't think of any supplement that's been studied as much as creatine, to be honest. So despite popular myths, creatine does not cause kidney damage in doses of 3 to 5 grams a day. We have seen some studies show kidney damage in doses really high, like 15 to 20 grams plus a day. So if you are taking 3 to 5 grams a day, do not worry about kidney damage. I get this all the time in the shop, people coming in saying, I want to take creatine, I've heard it's really good, but I don't want it to wreck my kidneys. And I say to them, well, just don't take too much, just take 3 to 5 grams a day and you'll be absolutely fine. So the University of Sydney has shown that taking creatine as a dietary supplement has led to significant increases in both memory and general intelligence. So this is something that isn't talked about enough with creatine, like the boost it can give for cognitive function. Obviously, it gives you a boost in performance, but it's also helping your brain to produce energy. So obviously, you'll be more productive. You can think faster, you can think quicker. It can also alter cellular pathways, leading to new muscle growth, meaning it can boost the formation of proteins to create new muscle fibers. So again, this backs up the point that creatine can be used as a muscle builder. Not just will it increase volume in the gym, it will actually give your body the ability to boost the formation of proteins and create new muscle fibers. So this is very good for performance and strength athletes who are wanting to build a bit more muscle. So we've also found a study that shows creatine can boost IGF-1 levels in humans. So this is IGF-1 is growth factor 1 hormone. So this hormone has been correlated heavily with muscle mass. The more growth hormone you have, it tends to be you have more muscle mass. So again, more muscle mass because of increases in IGF-1. So some more promising studies coming out on creatine show that it can be used as a preventative measure against degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and memory loss. Obviously, as discussed before, it can improve cognitive performance. So this kind of makes sense that it would be also helping to ward off stuff like Alzheimer's. There's even some diseases it's been shown to fight against, such as epilepsy or Huntington's disease, which, again, very promising. And I will link the studies below so you can check these out yourself. And lastly, this again is quite interesting and not something you hear often discussed when talking about creatine. And that is some research has suggested that creatine can lower blood sugar levels by increasing the function of the glucose transporter type 4. The faster your body gets rid of sugar from the blood, the better, really. So yeah, lowering blood sugar levels is obviously good as a preventative measure against diabetes or something that can help you control your diabetes. So for me, I would suggest taking 3 to 5 grams of creatine a day. I'd say 3 grams if you're sitting around like 60 to 70 kilogram body weight. More like 5 grams if you're around 80 to 100 kilogram body weight. But yeah, just find what works for you. If you start noticing some strength benefits at 3 to 4 gram, and then stick with that. Obviously, if you want to bump it up to 5 gram, or if you're even heavier, bump it up to like 6-7 gram a day. But these are some of the benefits that you can get from taking creatine. Yeah, so guys, I hope you enjoyed the breakdown on sleep, overtraining, and creatine. Like I say, this is something a bit different this time. I do want to start doing more of these, and I want to get more confident in talking about supplements and like delving deep into them, because I do a lot of it in the shop when I'm talking face to face with people, but it's a different ball game when you've got cameras on you. Obviously, I know that a lot of people will be watching this, so it always makes me nervous to kind of sit down and just talk to the camera. But I'm hoping that if I do like one of these every month or every other week, then eventually I'll get good at it, and I'll just be comfortable at it like I am on the gym reviews now. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like the video. If you want me to go deeper into a certain supplement or an ingredient or anything training related, then comment below what you'd like to see. I will break down anything. I'm up for looking into anything. Even if I don't know about it, I'll look into the studies behind it and speak to you guys about it. So yeah, if you do want to check out the studies mentioned in this video, I will link them below so you can go have a look yourself. It kind of backs me up that I'm not just chatting absolute garbage. So if you do want to check them out, then look below in the description. Thanks as always for watching, guys. All your support does mean the world. If you're wanting to buy any of our products, obviously head over to www.wolfsupplements.co.uk and join the pack.